like you to talk about, at this stage of the season, where you...
He wasn't supposed to be here. For hours, he sat beneath the glaring lights of the 2005 NFL Draft. The cameras closing in, the crowd whispering, name after name called, but never his. The future Hall of Famer left waiting, ignored, forgotten. But fate, as Aaron Rodgers would prove, loves the patient and punishes the doubters. From the quiet suburbs of Chico, California, to the roaring tundra of Lambeau Field, Rodgers' story is not just about football, it's about intellect, defiance, and destiny. A man who built his legacy not through brute strength, but through calculation, precision, and control. He became the quarterback who played chess while everyone else played checkers, dissecting defenses with a mathematician's calm and a poet's flair. But behind the brilliance came the shadows: controversy, isolation, reinvention. How did a man once seen as too quiet, too strange, too late, become one of the most fascinating, polarizing, and brilliant minds in sports history? This is the story of Aaron Rodgers, the genius who outsmarted the game, and sometimes himself. Aaron Charles Rodgers was born in Chico, California, a quiet college town where summer heat shimmered off cracked baseball fields and dreams were measured in Friday night lights. His father, Ed Rodgers, had once played football himself, a man of discipline and quiet pride. His mother, Darla, a nurse, taught him empathy and focus, the balance between fire and calm that would define him. From an early age, Aaron showed something different. While other kids relied on instinct, he relied on observation. He'd sit in the stands, studying every throw, every motion, asking why, not just how, but being different didn't always make life easier. He was small for his age, overlooked by bigger athletes, told he wasn't good enough for college football. Scouts dismissed him, coaches doubted him, and for a boy obsessed with control, rejection cut deep. Still, beneath the frustration, something else grew. A relentless need to prove, not through noise, but through mastery. He spent nights drawing plays in notebooks, memorizing defenses on old VHS tapes, building a mind that saw the field like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Before fame, before glory, there was a kid in Chico, watching, waiting, and planning his revenge against destiny. When every door slammed shut, Aaron Rodgers found one nobody else noticed: a small junior college in Northern California called Butte Community College. No bright lights, no cameras, just dust, sweat, and a second chance. It was here that Rodgers' obsession turned into precision. Coaches remember him not just for his arm but for his mind, dissecting plays before they even happened. One teammate said, "He played like he'd already watched the game yesterday." His performance at Butte caught the attention of the University of California, Berkeley. Suddenly, the quiet kid from Chico was commanding the roaring stadiums of the Pac-10. His throws, fast, surgical, poetic, drew scouts' eyes, and headlines whispered of the next great mind in football. Then came Draft Day 2005, a day that would define him. Rodgers, dressed in a black suit and calm smile, sat patiently in the green room. Pick after pick, his name went uncalled. 23 teams passed on him. Cameras zoomed in on his expression, a mixture of disbelief and calculation. When the Green Bay Packers finally selected him at the 24th pick, he wasn't jubilant. He was focused. Behind that composed face, a vow formed: to make every single one of those teams regret their hesitation. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He simply nodded. Because Aaron Rodgers knew, revenge, like greatness, is best served cold. 3 long years. That's how long Aaron Rodgers stood in the shadow of a legend. Brett Favre, waiting, learning and absorbing the game from the sidelines. Every throw in practice, every headline calling him a backup, carved patience into steel. Fans doubted him. The media called him too quiet, too cautious, too smart for his own good. But when 2008 arrived, so did his moment. Rodgers stepped onto Lambeau Field not as a shadow, but as the storm. His passes cut through the Wisconsin cold like lightning. He didn't just play, he orchestrated. His timing, footwork, and unshakable calm transformed Green Bay's chaos into rhythm. By 2010, Rodgers had led the Packers to the Super Bowl. Against the odds, against the critics, he delivered perfection. Precision throws, tactical mastery, a champion's poise under pressure. When confetti fell that night, Aaron Rodgers wasn't just holding the Lombardi Trophy, he was holding vindication. He had done it his way, through intellect, patience, and control. MVP titles followed, each one a reminder that this wasn't luck. It was design. On the field, his throws looked effortless. Off the field, his eyes told another story. One of isolation, of a man addicted to perfection, forever chasing a standard no one else could see. Aaron Rodgers had conquered the mountain. But at the top, the air gets thin, and the silence grows louder. But perfection comes with a price. And for Aaron Rodgers, that price was isolation. Behind the highlight reels and MVP trophies, whispers began to grow. Teammates called him distant. Coaches said he challenged authority too often. The media labeled him arrogant, aloof, a genius too proud for the world around him. When success turns into expectation, even brilliance becomes a burden. Rodgers' relationship with head coach Mike McCarthy began to fracture. What once was creative tension became silent warfare. Every play call a battle of ego and vision. And then came the tabloids. His high-profile relationships, first with actress Olivia Munn, later with Shailene Woodley, turned his private life into public spectacle. Every breakup, every cryptic interview, fed the narrative of a man too complex to be understood, too independent to belong. But the storm truly hit in 2021, when Rodgers refused to confirm his vaccination status during the COVID-19 pandemic. The story exploded. Overnight, he went from NFL's philosopher king to a national controversy. Talk shows mocked him. Fans divided. Sponsors hesitated. Rodgers responded not with apologies, but philosophy. He spoke of personal freedom, immunity through choice, and cancel culture. To some, he became a hero of independence. To others, a symbol of arrogance and denial. Through it all, he never wavered. He kept playing, throwing, winning, as if the noise around him didn't exist. But behind that calm exterior, the fractures deepened. Aaron Rodgers, once untouchable, was now human. And for the first time, the man who always controlled the game had lost control of his own story. After years of controversy and noise, Aaron Rodgers chose silence, not the silence of defeat, but of awakening. He began to step away from the chaos of headlines and into something deeper. Meditation, darkness retreats, ayahuasca journeys, and long talks about consciousness and the self. What seemed strange to the world felt necessary to him. He wasn't trying to win over fans anymore. He was trying to understand himself. "I believe in manifestation," he said in an interview, "in the power of the mind to shape reality." For Rodgers, redemption didn't come from another trophy. It came from surrender. He began mentoring younger players, showing flashes of humor and humility that had once been buried under layers of control. The man, once defined by perfection, was learning to embrace imperfection. Then came 2023. A new chapter, a new city, a new uniform. Rodgers joined the New York Jets, a team hungry for leadership and for hope. The season started with promise and heartbreak. An Achilles injury in the first game sidelined him instantly, but even then he smiled. "Setbacks," he said, "are just setups for something bigger." It wasn't about football anymore. It was about purpose, peace, and proving that even the sharpest mind can learn to let go. Aaron Rodgers was no longer chasing greatness. He was redefining it. In an era obsessed with noise, Aaron Rodgers became the master of silence. He never needed to shout to be heard. His precision spoke louder than any headline, his intellect louder than any scandal. 4 MVP awards, a Super Bowl ring, over a decade of brilliance that reshaped how the quarterback position is understood. But beyond the numbers, Rodgers' true legacy lies in how he played the game, with thought, balance, and artistry. He was never the strongest, never the flashiest, but always the most deliberate. Every motion, every glance, every throw was a lesson in control and conviction. Critics may argue, fans may debate, but history will remember him as the thinker who turned football into philosophy, the man who made logic look like magic. And as he walks through the twilight of his career, one truth remains unshaken. Aaron Rodgers didn't just master the game. He mastered himself because genius doesn't roar. It calculates, it endures, and it evolves. The journey of Aaron Rodgers proves that even in a world ruled by chaos, the mind, calm, sharp, and unyielding, will always find its way. If you believe every great mind hides a story behind the silence, like, share and subscribe for more untold Hollywood legends.